Not sure if any of you guys like heard, but I think some places like here they do taxes if you use plastic bags from the grocery instead of bringing your own. And although I think that's a good idea, I think maybe some people like are tight on budgets and they can't afford like bags of their own. So I feel like they probably make reusable bags cheaper. I think, and then just like maybe have some like free materials where you can just like decorate your own bags. So people don't feel like the need to get plastic bags or especially if you like buy any heavy items like milk or anything. So yeah.
I also think that we should start teaching people more about it because not a lot of people are like educated on the whole topic, so they don't really know what's going on or like the whole thing. They don't know what to do with their trash. And so I think it'd be better to start teaching people to like recycle more and what they can do to help out and things like that.
What else do you think we should talk about? Like, I mean, we talked about what it was and what we think people can do about it, but I don't know what else to talk about. Like, maybe stuff that we've seen, like um, like you see the videos of like whales washed up on the beach. Like, well, obviously they're not alive, but like they're dead from like the oil spills that do happen, and the recently there was an oil spill somewhere. I don't remember where, but there was an oil spill, and it killed a lot of like dolphins and whales and stuff and fish underwater. And it not only affect ocean pollution not only affects sea animals, but it also affects the neighboring people around it. Like there are people who fish and they need to eat. That's how they eat. They use fish from the ocean, obviously, but the fact that there's pollution in the water, it's like killing the fish now that those people don't have food anymore.
Yes, like I feel like with this, I think people forget that, like you said, it doesn't affect not only like the ocean life and like the animals around it. It also affects the people because there's a lot of indigenous communities, like maybe in Alaska, they try to hunt orca whales and such. Do you have to depend on these food sources still because maybe they can't live somewhere else or it's in their tradition. So I think there's also should be an emphasis on how it affects people too, because I feel like with animals, sometimes people feel detached from them. But then if we talk about how like sea pollution affects people, other people, then maybe more people will be compelled because they feel a lot more like sympathy with like other people rather than animals. Just my take.
Yeah, to add on, basically, like the ocean is a main resource for us to like get our oxygen because all the sea life and all like the plants help produce oxygen, take in all the CO2 from the atmosphere, which if there's a lot of CO2, it can affect us personally, just like everybody around the world, because of it could increase like climate change and basically just affect everyone in general.
Also, a lot of people see like pollution and things like that as something that doesn't directly affect them. So I feel like if we like talk about it more, or yeah, like what Kathy said, where we bring up like how it's people's main like food source and things like that, maybe they'll start to get the idea. And if we say like, if we tell them to put themselves in like those people's shoes, it'll help out.
I was thinking about what Evelyn said about there being more carbon and stuff in the atmosphere. And I remember sometime during this year or during 2020, at some point, like the coldest place on Earth, the Atlantic, had actually caught on fire because of like oil spills and stuff. So it was just shocking to see some place that was so cold and like surrounded by water be caught on fire. It was strange because you don't expect it to actually like you don't expect it to be something that can happen, but like it's a very plausible thing that can happen, and it's really bad because I mean the polar ice caps are already melting as it is, but like now that it was on fire, it's like it's probably like 100 times worse, you know?
I think the worst part is like, unlike many of the indigenous communities like the Inuit in Alaska that had to depend on orca whales, I think a lot of people have the privilege of not having to think about like hunting their food or